what's up, guys? So I just got done with my journal. Honestly, I am so tired. It's 2 o'clock in the morning on a Friday night right now, but I had way too many amazing, honestly, epiphanies tonight that I literally couldn't. I can't not share with you. I literally did my journal tonight, and it's like 4 pages long, like one, two, three, four, and we got a diagram over here. So normally my journals are like 1 page, maybe two. I think I've had one 3-year before. So tonight we had a lot of good stuff. So like basically, um, the long and the short of it is I was supposed to have dinner, like Shabbat dinner, with my sister, her family, and my nieces and nephew, like my brother-in-law and my other sister. That was the plan, and literally as we were driving to go to my sister, which is about an hour drive, about 5 minutes in, I started hearing like on the road. Long story short, had to something like fell out from my car. It was the base plate that protected my engine. I needed to get a tow, and we ended up waiting there for like an hour and a half to 2 hours, all in all. And so obviously, we didn't end up going to dinner like we had planned. The interesting thing though was before we had plans for me and my sister to go to our other sister for dinner. I just messaged my sister for us two to do dinner tonight. And so actually like that's ended up what happened, and it was unbelievably, like, in my opinion, like God influenced, like Hashem made this happen, and you'll soon understand why. So eventually we had a lovely evening. Like, we drove back to her house. We ended up getting some Thai food because we love Asian food, and we were gonna watch some Formula One later on, and it was really nice. And on the way over to getting Thai food, we called our mom, and we were both just kind of bitching about work. Like, we were both bitching because we both were like having issues with like political optics, the game bullshit, right? And after sitting down to dinner and everything, we were like, my sister asked me, she was like, so Kay, like, what can you tell me? Like, she's like, Kay, like, no more negative stuff. Like, what's a positive thing that happened to you tonight? Or I'm sorry, this week. I literally sat there for maybe 10 to 15 seconds, 20 seconds of just pure silence. And she's like, well, that's not a pretty good sign. And I went through so many negative things. The first 15, 20 thoughts that came into my head were all negative. And finally, I said, oh, you know what? I got an amazing compliment today. Someone that I had met for the first time on July 4th. I knew him for 2.5 days with this group of 10 or so that I went on a 4th of July trip with. This guy, great dude, like really genuinely this incredible person. He said in front of everyone who, also had only met me for 2.5 days. This is a group that has been hanging out for months and months and months. He was like, I really miss Camion. And he says, my buddy Max, who I've known for a couple of years. Max is the one person I've known for multiple years, and he's the, um, uh, binder to these people. He's the connector. And he's like, oh my god, dude, I also miss Camion. And, like, he texted me that, and it was just so nice, the fact that this person who I knew for a little bit more than 48 hours, like, felt like that group that he was a part of was missing something, or that he just wanted to hang out with me specifically after only knowing me for a little bit more than 2 days, like, that's really special. It's really incredible. And it was just unbelievably nice to hear. It was a really big compliment to me, and that's what I shared with my sister. The other thing that I shared was, and basically, we're talking about some introspective things, and this person basically said, I always appreciate that, like, you come and talk with me with, dude, like, I was talking with my therapist. I don't like to say it. It's good for me to say it, but I was talking with my therapist. Like, the stigma's dumb. So I was talking with my therapist. I've been seeing him for a little bit over 6 months now, and he's, we were talking about stuff, and I was like talking about some things that I had like thought about through the week after watching some TED Talks and stuff. And he was like, dude, I just want to say, like, it always makes me so gleeful and happy that you come to these sessions with such like well thought out introspective ideas. And like, I literally teared up when he told me that, because I thought to myself, like, I do get very introspective. I do get very deep. I do analyze things very, very deeply. And I'm like, does everybody do this? Is this just a Camion thing? Is this like a skill? Is this something that I have that not everyone does have? And so, like, that was a little bit of confirmation for me that, like, I'm not saying no one thinks in depth, but, the fact that what I was thinking in depth, even to a trained psychologist, was well thought out and introspective, and I was coming to these profound or relatively profound conclusions on my own. And that really was just like gratifying and nice to hear, because for me, like, I would love to eventually be able to coach people, mentor people, give it guidance, whether it be in business, to people as a service, or just like I said, as coaching, life coaching, what mentoring, whatever it may be. Like, I just want to be able to help people. And I always wondered, like, are the things that I think about, like, that valid? Are they that real? Are they that worthwhile? Like, are they that well developed? And you know what? I think that this proved today that, like, at the very least, my ideas are at least somewhat well developed, and that really made me feel good. And so my sister agreed on, like, that feeling, and she was saying, like, she thinks because that I'm very empathetic, I'm able to empathize with people. And so we got into this really great train of thought, and just like the rest of the night, it's kind of like where this kind of exploded, because we just thought about so many good ideas, and you'll hear about them in a minute. So what we talked about with empathy specifically, and we kind of went back and forth, about what we thought empathy was, kind of how it related to sympathy, because those are always a kind of intermixed. And what our conclusion was is that empathy is trying to understand the other person that you're talking to in the journey that they are on, right? So they have a feeling, right? There's a core feeling. There's a core feeling over here, whatever. The empathy is trying to understand the journey that someone is trying to go on to arrive, that they arrived at that feeling, right? So trying to understand the journey part of the feeling that they were having. Sympathy is understanding that core feeling in and of itself, right? I am feeling upset. I am feeling happy. I am feeling grateful. Understanding that feeling that person is having is sympathy. Whereas the empathy is, I had an amazing time hanging out with my friends and family today at a barbecue, and I am feeling grateful. So understanding the journey of that person being with loved ones that he truly cares about, or they care about, the fact that they are around people who bring them joy and love and comfort, is something that they appreciate. That is the empathy part of understanding the feeling of the gratitude that they are feeling that day. So I thought that was just a really interesting and great thought, and I'd never thought about empathy and sympathy in that way. I'm not saying it's the only way to describe these two words. It's just a way that we came up with together that I personally, it felt very good to me. It felt like a way that I could grasp those two, interrelated yet separate ideas together. And if you have other ideas, I would love to hear about it. Please share it. I would love to hear what your thoughts are on it. So the other thing I just want to say about that is, it's not very often that you can talk about, like, such in-depth psychological, like, abstract ideas, and just like the idea, just being able to do that with somebody, to bounce ideas back and forth, was really, really cool. To come up with a conclusion that wasn't a black and white answer, like X didn't equal like 5, like 1 plus 1 equals 2, like, that's factual. But we were able to come up with a mutual agreement on the empathy and the sympathy definition, kind of intermingled relationship. But that's not to say that that's the only way to describe it in the world. There's plenty of other ways. Like I said, please share with me. I'd love to know what you think about empathy and sympathy, just, in that relationship, and what your definition is, because our definition is not necessarily yours, and that's the beauty of it. So after I discussed, like, what I had good in the week, my sister described what she had good in the week. And so what she was telling me about was, on an interview that she had at her job today, because she has to interview people for her role. She basically was, like, thrown into the deep end, trying to interview somebody to get information for a project she's working on. And normally she's kind of like writing notes and asking follow-up questions, but she's kind of like a third party in the background, if you will. Like, she's been in plenty of interviews, but she's never given an interview. And so today, it was kind of like the first interviewer did their thing and kind of dropped off, passed the ball. Then the second interviewer did their thing, then passed the baton, and then she picked up the ball and she just kept on rolling and rolling and rolling and rolling. And what she was talking about was she always believed that she had the skill set to be able to interview people properly and well, but her thought of thinking that she's a skill set, thinking that she knows that she has a skill set, and thinking that she can achieve the outcome with that skill set in her mind is very different than actually using that skill set IRL in real life and actually achieving that outcome that she believes is possible in her brain and in her mind, right? And so, the fact that like she was so happy that, in her words, she hit a home run with the interview, that it went super well. It just kind of when she dove into the water, it was just like bliss, if you will. It was just kind of like so easy, back and forth. The thing, like that question just kept on coming to her. The conversation was so easy. She was getting great information and all that stuff. I'm just like out here doing like a little dance move, whatever. And it just worked so well, And she, like I said, in the words I use, like it was serendipitous, It just kind of, she was thrown into a situation, and it turns out that she just excelled in that situation, and it was fantastic, And so, there's two big things that I wanted to discuss on this, or that we discussed that I wanted to share with you. And the first one was that first idea of like the idea that you think that you can do it, you think you have the skill set, and you believe what you can achieve, right, in a perfect world, in theory. But thinking that you can do something and actually doing it, like I mentioned a moment ago, are two very different things, right? And so, kind of as we were talking, because I asked her, I was like, look, I also have thought about this. Like, I believe that I have certain skill sets, like I kind of mentioned a minute ago, like being introspective, thinking about things like on a deep level. Like, do I think things through well? Do I think about things in a way that I can decipher them well to help others and position them for a place to succeed, as a coach would, if you will? Because that's just a small example. And so, I was asking from my perspective, I also think that I have skills that I'm good at, that I would be able to achieve great things if I implemented them. But thinking that you can do something, and then, thinking that you can be a certain thing, but then actually doing it in real life are two very different things. Because what happens between thinking you have the skill or maybe knowing you have the skill, and then thinking you could, achieve a certain outcome with that skill, and then actually doing it and applying it, the barrier in between this right here in the middle, that's fear, that's judgment, that is a uphill battle, that is a mountain, that's an Everest in front of you. That's like this big mountain that's staring down on you, like, oh, you want to achieve your goal because you think that you have the skill set, because you think that you have the chops. Well, I'm however many thousand feet high. Yeah, you can take it step by step, but it's a lot of steps, dude. It's really, really hard. And not only that, there's the fear of people judging you for trying. There's the fear, there's the fear of failure, which is a big one for me. There's the fear of other people's criticisms. And another big one, which I don't think gets talked a lot about, or maybe it does, and I'm not paying attention, is you try and you don't actually succeed how you thought that you could succeed in your mind. You put in your best effort. You did your best, and it still wasn't good enough, and you weren't what you thought that you could be in here. What you thought you could be in here didn't actually happen out here, and that's devastating. One of the biggest things that people don't want to find out is the truth. The truth hurts, it stings. And if you can do anything you can do to avoid the truth, then people will do that. And so we were kind of talking about this journey, and like for some reason, I just like, my sister mentioned like, when she started out doing the interviews, she kind of was like, oh, I could do this, absolute bliss, like, but don't know what you don't know. And then once she kind of came in as a third party, or as like a backup person, or like just taking notes as a coordinator or whatever, she kind of fell into this cataclysm, this valley. And she said, then, or I said, or whatever, like, now you know what you don't know, and now you're like scared, because she said that when she first started, she thought she could do it for sure, but then as she got experience seeing other people do it, she fell in this chasm of, I don't know if I can do it because now I know what I don't know. There's a lot to it. So her confidence actually got lowered by knowing more information. And that's how this whole picture kind of came into my mind. And so as we're talking about that, and like you're in this cataclysm, and then over here there's this huge mountain. Like I said, there's this huge mountain staring down at you. It's Everest. You know what I'm saying? And so what I used to think, it was like climbing this mountain day by day, day by day. Oh my God! But like that's a lot, obviously. But what I came to realize is, like I said, that fear of failure, that fear of judgment, that fear of, I'm not, like, if you actually try hard, you're actually not going to succeed like you thought. Like, that is a choice. You basically, when you're in this chasm over here, it's not a mountain you have to climb, it's a door that you have to break through. You have to stare at a door. It's like a mirage almost, like, or it's like a fake. It's a phony. That mountain is the mountain, but you've a door in front of you, and I'll get to the mirage and a fake in a second that applies. And you basically look at that door and you have to say, I am either going to stand here and just stare at this door while fear of what is beyond this door consumes me forever, or you got to kick the shit of that door. Kick the shit down of that door and attempt to face the fears and see what's on the other side. And so, like with my sister today, she was forced to kick down the fucking door. She was literally forced by her boss. And so here she was, and that was my other question to her was, what did it feel like going from what you thought like climbing the mountain would be? What was the thought process? What did it feel like between like thinking you could do something and then actually putting in the actions to then potentially know if you could do something? And so she told me, like I kind of said before, like, yeah, she thought it'd be difficult, but in real life, it was more like ebb and flow, Like, yeah, she felt stretched. She felt like she was being challenged, but it was it was something she could overcome. It was in her grasp. It wasn't here. It wasn't here. It might have been, like, way out over here, but she could stretch and get it, Might have been up here, down here, wherever, but it was possible for her to reach what she needed to reach. And so, when I heard that, it wasn't so much of a mountain to climb. It was more like a wall to hop, like a fence to hop over. You still gotta jump and get your hands over the ledge, and then it's not like you're just like in a pool, like you're like up and down, just like you're a feather. No, you gotta like pull yourself up, jimmy rig, like kind of like get one arm over, push yourself up. It's kind of shaky, it's kind of uncomfortable, but at the end of the day, once you kind of get through the discomfort, you can just kind of like, as long as you can get like your butt onto the side there, you're good. Get the butt on, just kind of like, sit down, pull over your legs, and just like hop on the other side. Like, yeah, it took some calories, took some effort, it might have broken a sweat, but like you were stretching. You were stretching for something that wasn't easy, but was attainable if you just put yourself out there and tried. And so that's kind of like the last part of this is, in this example, when you climb over this ledge, what's ironic is you're actually kind of on the same plane as when you were at the don't know what you don't know stage. Accepting the difference is, when you don't know what you don't know, you think that you can do it and be what you want. But over here, after you go down the chasm, kick the shit down the door, climb up the fence, you're over here thinking, no, I know what I know, and I know that I can do it because I just proved that I can do it. And so, like, you're over here, walking down, and then you just kind of take a look back, and you're like, wow, let me just take a look at this journey that I just came on, because it wasn't easy. I'm not saying this is easy, but it's attainable. You can overcome it. It is achievable. What's interesting about this perspective and this part of the journey is when you look back, you look back and you look up at the mountain, what do you see? You see it was fake the entire time. It's cardboard. It's plywood. It's something out of a Hollywood film set. It's like the billboards you see at the side of the highway, the ones that kind of extend just a little bit beyond what the typical billboard would be. And you look at the back, it's got a piece of plywood sticking out there, just holding that thing up. It is so flimsy. It is so fake. It is so not real. And like, that's the crazy thing, is when you look back, you're like, wow, that mountain, that insurmountable object wasn't even there. It was in my mind the entire time. And so when you look at the journey of what you actually went through, that mountain didn't even exist. It was there to dissuade you. It was there to confuse you. It was there to try to make you not do anything. Because what do humans not like to do? Be uncomfortable. What do humans not like to feel? Negative things. What do humans not like to do? Feel like they are failing and they feel like they could be a laughing stock to other people and what they try to do. But once you realize that you're the one putting on these self-imposed restrictions, then you realize truly it's all just a choice. And I really do believe anyone could do anything. Maybe some start farther along than others. Yeah, a 6'11" guy is probably gonna dunk easier than a 5'2" person. But like the 5'2" person can put in the work, they can go lift, they can go do like practice, whatever. Anything's possible for anybody. It's only possible though if at the stage that you look at the door, you say, I'm gonna kick the shit out of you. You're about to get blown up, door. Bang. And then yeah, you still got some work to do. Don't get me wrong. It's not gonna be like you just like jump an inch or two. But that last step between believing you have the skills to achieve what you want to achieve and actually in real life applying those skills, it's really just a stretch and feeling like you need to put in the work. You do need to put in the work, but the work is within your attainable grasp. And I know that I said, as I'm actually kind of amending this right now as I'm thinking about it, like I know that I said you start on the same plane, but you don't really start on the same plane because you're actually at an elevated plane, right? Because every single journey, it's a repeat of the same process. Don't know what you don't know what you don't know, kick down the door of fear, climb up the wall of opportunity or of achievement, whatever you want to call it, and then you kind of are incrementally at bigger and better steps. So over time, you're growing, linearly, exponentially, however you want to do it, you're growing, and that's what's important. And that mountain that you saw was there, shit's bullshit. It's just in your mind, and you need to get it out of your mind and look back and say, your cardboard, your plywood, I throw some water on you and you melt away and I kick you down, your nails go flying. Like, you ain't got nothing on me. Ooh. And the best part is, and like I wrote and I drew my little diagram over here, is you get out of this like bigger, stronger, more knowledgeable, more experienced. You're able to tackle bigger issues because you went through the ringer before, which is very, very important to know. And that specifically, that conversation was truly eye-opening for me, and like that was I mean really a treat to have been able to discuss that with my sister, and I'm really grateful to her for being there to help me unlock not only that thought process but a visual for it as well, because I think the visual just helps me out so much to be able to understand it. And like I said before, like I've been going through trying to understand that emotion, trying to understand how to overcome knowing you have the skills to do something, but then actually doing it. And I knew that fear of failure was like impeding the way, but I guess I just didn't realize how close that I was, exactly how I am today. So, like I said, just unbelievably grateful for that. And then the last thing that we talked about, which is super important as well, is on that, interview she talked about. She was like, yeah, I was like, it was a home run today. Like when she described it, she's like, I hit a home run. It was unbelievable, like I did so well, the interview went so great, I did even better than I expected, all these amazing positive things. I was like, dude, that's amazing, I'm so happy for you, that's awesome. And at some point, I forget what it was, but she regressed. She was like, I mean, yeah, it was good, but like, it wasn't perfect, like, it wasn't the best interview ever, like, it was good, but it wasn't like knock your socks off. And I was like, no, that is not right. It was a home run. It just wasn't like the grand salami, bottom of the ninth inning, 2 outs, win the great World Series end all be all goal. Because I mean, look, I don't know what her goal is in her career, but she's in the entertainment world. She's trying to be a producer, and maybe her end goal is to produce a Hollywood film, or maybe her end goal is to produce a major TV series. I don't know. So yes, if her goal is to be a major Hollywood producer doing big shows, running whole shows, doing one little interview, no, it's not little. Doing one interview is not on the same level of major Hollywood production of a TV show. We both understand that. But the difference, though, is you need to celebrate the mini goals and the mini wins on the way to building up to the main goal, right? Because when you celebrate the mini wins and achieving goals along the path to the big goal, that's when you get confidence. That's when you build momentum. That's when you build belief in yourself, that you can actually achieve that goal. Like, yes, is there room for improvement on her interview skills? Absolutely. She can be more crisp. She can, talk more fluidly. She can prepare better. I'm making things up. She didn't say this. I'm just making this up. But there's always room for improvement no matter what you do. You will never be fully 100% perfect. It's impossible. It's not in the human realm. Perfection is not in the human realm. But in this instance, she had a major fucking win. She got thrown into the deep end, didn't know she was going to be doing it. She even described how, she was kind of, not even prepared for the interview fully. And then midway through, she kind of, propped herself up, had a cup of coffee, splashed some water on her face. And then after that, she impromptu got given the reins, and she, wacha, ran that shit. And she ran it well, which is unbelievable, And so I told her, the example that I gave, because we're talking about mountains tonight, insurmountable obstacles, is when you climb Mount Everest, there's no way you're doing it in one shot. There's multiple camps. There's a base camp. There's a camp 1, camp 2, until you get to the peak and the pinnacle of Mount Everest, okay? Are you telling me that if somebody were to get to camp 3 of 10, I don't know how many camps there are, but let's just use number 10, which is easy. If you're to get to camp 3, you're telling me you're not fucking stoked? You're telling me that you're 30% up the way of the tallest mountain in the entire world and you ain't stoked about it? You absolutely should be stoked. What's the point in being upset about, mini goals not being achieved? And yes, there are certain people who don't care. There's the famous Kobe Bryant interview where it's like, hey Kobe, you're up 2-0 or whatever. How you feeling? He's like, you don't seem so happy. He's like, job ain't finished. What's there to be happy about? Job ain't finished. Job's finished? Nope, didn't think so. What's there to be happy about? So look, there are absolute killers out there who have the mentality. I very much understand that. However, I think for a large majority of people, or at least for a significant enough amount of people, that those mini wins along the way to the major wins are huge. Why do you think that baseball teams celebrate with dog piles and champagne when they win their division, or the division series, or the championship series? Neither of those three are the World Series, which is the ultimate goal. But you don't even get to attempt to achieve the ultimate goal if you don't pass those 3 trials. So it's worth celebrating the achievement of the trials on the way to the end goal. Because when you get to the end goal and you actually do achieve your end goal, you only got there because you appreciated the journey and you appreciated yourself and what you had accomplished on the way there. And mind you, I don't think it's a very great, happy, fulfilling way to live life if you just live day to day, every single day, on to the next, on to the next, on to the next, on to the next. And I say that from experience because that's how I have lived my life most of my life. So it's very difficult. And it's very important that you remember that all these little wins stack up and build momentum. And so that's what we discussed as well. And I think it's very, very important. I'm really happy that we did end up discussing that. The last thing that I kind of want to discuss, and I thought about this as I was writing my journal, was basically just the power of partnerships. I love my sister. We've been through a lot together, and she's one of my favorite people on this earth, and our relationship is truly something that I value and I care for, and I think is very, very special. But look, we've had good conversations in the past, but I don't think that we've ever had a conversation that touched on such deep, such dense topics. Not to mention, I've given you at least 3 or 4 really, in my opinion, deep, well thought out, at least opinions, viewpoints on life, on things that I don't think are just foo-foo and whatever. I think these are really important things. And what it made me realize was, as someone who really does if not daily, at least weekly basis. Like I try to tackle things in my life that I want to improve on, things that I don't understand. I try to understand why things are the way that they are. There's a reason I started going to therapy. It's because I got to a point where for a lot of things I just couldn't do it on my own anymore. I hit a ceiling. I was just like or whatever. Like I dug down as deep as I possibly could, and I just hit like concrete. And I needed somebody to help me jack through the concrete so I could go even deeper and figure out like what else I needed to like, dig through. And that's what I found was super helpful tonight. Was I was able to have epiphanies and revelations and connect things and think about things in ways that I had never thought of before, just by having another person to bounce ideas off of and to hear what their thought process was and like kind of work things through together. And so I just realized like how important like partnerships are in a business sense, as well as like relationships and like romantic relationships, as well as like friendships and stuff. So like I've always tried to do businesses on my own. I've never really had partners with anything. And yeah, you just get to a ceiling. And I always know that you want to like find someone who complements your weaknesses, someone whose strengths are your weaknesses and vice versa. But I've just never gotten to that point or even like really tried to venture for that partner. And so like I think tonight was a great experience of like how bouncing ideas off of somebody can be very influential because you just come to conclusions that you otherwise couldn't come to on your own. And then romantically, it's the same idea. It just, I realized how nice it would be able to like have in-depth conversations about real topics. And I just realized like how much I would appreciate that. But more so, I saw the value in talking with somebody that can challenge you and does challenge you, and then together you think about things in a way that neither of you could do individually. And so together you're able to prop each other up to find something that is just very profound and very helpful and very influential in your life potentially. Just lastly, like I'm just super grateful for tonight. Honestly, I ended my journal saying that like honestly, man, like I think it was a blessing from God that I got my oil changed. Maybe there was an issue. I'm not gonna say that. I think it was a blessing from God that I got my oil changed. Whatever happened, I had this issue that I couldn't go to my eldest sister with my older sister. I'll say, and like go to dinner there. Obviously, I'm upset that I didn't go. I really would have loved, and I was really truly looking forward to being with her family and my niece and my nephew, and my sister. But like this was, I think, a plan from Hashem to like teach me all the things that I just shared with you tonight, and the way this all happened with like my car having an issue, the tow truck, not even coming, my sister and I fixing the thing with Gorilla Tape just to get home, ordering Thai, watching F1, being at home, just her and I being able to like talk about things back and forth. I think that this was like just meant to happen, and I'm just unbelievably grateful for that. Like truly, in my opinion, the reason that this all happened was so that I could create this diagram right here. I'm going to probably try to do like a legit video just on this by itself, but like this diagram is basically what I was describing with the whole like walking, don't know what you don't know, cataclysm, whatever, break through the door of fear, climb up the wall of the fence or the wall of opportunity, and come out on the other side like bigger, badder, stronger, more confident to then tackle future issues, realizing that mountain in your way was fake and self-imposed and is just like sissy shit the whole time, not sissy shit that demoralizes the challenges, but what I do want to emphasize that it is self-imposed, and that you have the abilities in you to be able to overcome your cataclysm, overcome your door of fear, and overcome your wall of opportunity. I like those words. We'll see if those stick long term. But yeah, so people, that was crazy long. I know it was a long one, but honestly, I really hope that you get something out of it. If you did, like, please, like, let me know in the comment what you did get out of it. Like, um, did you like this video? You know, do you want any follow-ups for any of the items that I discussed tonight? Like, I've recorded a lot of videos in my life that I haven't posted. Believe me, I probably have recorded upwards of 100 to 150 videos on this camera. I don't think I've uploaded any of them, and I've had it for like almost 2 years. So I really mean this when I say I think that this is one of the most important videos I've ever recorded in my entire life. And you know, my door of fear right now is, Camion, are you going to kick the shit down of that door that has been holding you back? Because I do believe that, like, I could perform well on camera. I do believe I'm a good public speaker. I do believe that I could have a good, you know, social media presence with like YouTube and like online and stuff and doing content like that. But some like things have been stopping me. I've been stopping me. That fake mountain has been stopping me. The fear that, I think for me, fear of failure for sure. Fear of judgment, it's there for everyone, but less so. But I think for me, it's the biggest one is fear that if I do it and I try for legit skis, I'm not gonna succeed, and it's gonna prove that I actually don't have it in me. And I feel like that is a lot of where my fear comes from things in general. And so right now, even like thinking about posting this like scares me. But and I make excuses like, oh, it's the editing is annoying. I don't know how to edit, and you know, I don't have the time to edit, and like that's my fake wall. That's my fake wall is the editing, dude. See, I'm even coming up with things right now, people. Freaking live. So maybe the solution is, dude, just like putting this all into a video, like taking out like the hums and haws and whatever, and just like sending it out to YouTube. You know, yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe that's like that's my stretch. My stretch is literally just like basic editing and just sending that shit into the ether. You know, like I said, I really do believe in the things like I've been talking with you on the camera tonight. You know, like I really did think about, you know, just not recording tonight. I really thought about just like, you know, going to bed. I'll record tomorrow because I'm super tired. I slept for like 5 hours last night. I slept for like 5 to 6 hours the last 3 nights. So I'm zonked. It's literally 1:30 to 2 o'clock in the morning right now, or 2:30 to 3. I don't even know. But like I thought to myself after I did my journal, I'm like, Kame, it's fresh in your mind. Like you need to get this out and recorded how you're feeling it right now. And I'm unbelievably grateful that I did, because I don't think that I could replicate tomorrow the feelings that I'm feeling tonight. Yes, I'm tired, but I'm grateful that I shared what's going on in my mind right now in my camera forevermore. And I also kind of believe like I wouldn't be able to sleep because it would just be like gnawing at me, and I'd be nervous that I didn't like get across my message, and I would like be nervous that I forgot stuff. So people, thank you for sticking around with me. If you did stick around with me this long, I'm very grateful to you. And like I said, if you found this valuable, give me a comment. Please like, please subscribe. If you want other content like this, please let me know. If you want me to do any follow-ups on any of the things that I've discussed tonight, if you guys want to talk with me about any of these things, please do me a favor, comment down below. I'll make sure to get back to you. If you want to, you know, direct message me, I don't know how you can do that yet, but I'll figure it out how to tell you. And yeah, I just want to wish you guys all the best. May you have an incredible journey, whatever journey that you're on. And I wish you all of the best in getting past your fake mountains. Much love, everybody. Have an amazing day, evening, morning, whatever. I'll talk with you soon. Cheers.